this is kind of a mash of what I learned during these 6 weeks, and then picking a capstone project to narrow things down. And what my experience has been is I have been kind of a bit of an AI denier, and that's probably the wrong term, but I come along and I look, okay, it's not good enough. This isn't valuable to me. I'll check in later. I keep checking in. I keep checking in. So this course has been amazing to open up my eyes, and all the people that have presented so far, you've opened up my eyes further. And Alyssa, because working as a creative director, I love to see your presentation in particular. So it's been great. So the first section here is I'm just going to talk about some of the, like, again, dipping my toe in to find different apps that are working. So I went looking to see what the best image upgrade res up tool could be. And I found Topaz to be exceptionally good at that, really good at maintaining. I know what this person looks like. He's a speaker that does events. And so I know that looks like him, and not all the res up image software is doing that. So I took it to the test of, and I've noticed too that there's a lot of biases in, like, I'll call it whitewashing of faces. And so, and when I did this test on this speaker, the indigeneity seemed to be toned down quite a bit. So I looked further at that. I don't really think it's it is happening. I think maybe this was just an overlit portrait of this man, and it was from quite a distance up on stage. So I would highly recommend the software. There's a feature in it that also allows for artwork and graphics. This is a logo from, I'm going to say 1921. So it was only ever done as pen and ink. So there's no vector of it. There's no anything of it. And we're coming up to our 150th anniversary. So I know there's going to be a need for all these old hand-painted logos. So this, I thought it also did a decent job. At least now I can take it in and create a vector from it, whereas that wasn't possible here. I also spent a lot of time going into the personalization feature of Midjourney, and really loved that. I spent a lot of time building my global profiles. So I had Simon's voice in the back of my head about the chocolate box images. I know exactly what you mean. It looks to me like they look like cheap puzzles that you find at the cottage. A lot of those images are just so tacky. So, but I'm training, like, every day when I have a few moments, I train the profile to know what I like and what I wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole, and then started on creating the mood boards. And how I have been using those is I'm creating my mood boards with a combination of generated images that I have swipes from different projects. This was a retrofuturism style I was working for an upcoming project. And then the one of the other concepts was going to be noise groove. So I went from these mood boards and thought, well, can I generate some images that are going to supplement my presentation? And these were images that were generated as a combination of the profile, the mood board, and then the prompts to bring into images were actually going to be valuable to my presentation. And again, I would say not quite there yet, but really it's coming. It's coming. So I'm quite excited about that. Firefly still to video was something new that I tried. I've just plugged in, just as a test, plugged in an abstract and gave it a very short prompt to say, create a wave motion. And the firewall cut me off after one image, and I'm a paid customer, so I don't know what to do there. I've been calling IT, I've been calling Adobe, so I don't know. So I was disappointed. I spent some time with the SREF, CREF, because that was brand new to me. And so I had a lot of fun. And when I was doing some research, I also learned that character weight was another uh, additional reference that I could get to it. So I can now change, because if I have the same character reference, maybe that person is always in a black suit every time you see them. So this character weight allowed me to change the aspects that weren't able to change through regular prompting. So I have to play with that some more. I like it. So my capstone, and Chris helped me out on this on a Saturday. That's designing an AI-powered creative brief system. This is something that is I spend way too long on. I get bad information. I go back and forth, and it's I don't think ever as good as it needs to be. So they identified these processes, and it's a combination of manual and AI. So first is to gather information, and I decided to do that manually through conversation or email. And the column on the right is the information that I gathered. And it's not the full information that you need for a creative brief, but it's where I decided to start to not overwhelm. I deal with a lot of non-marketing people that really don't understand the process. So it gets overwhelming for them and it gets stalled. So my only output I was desiring here was to produce a transcript. So for then step two, I am going to do first pass creative brief, and I'm going to layer on all the attachments that I have at my disposal, and tighten up the brief, go back, ChatGPT, and refine that through this method. And this is the additional information that I'm going to go back and ask for. Chris, I will tell you, I got a little bit off the rails because I couldn't 100% remember everything we talked about, but I was super happy that I was able to create my own agent, and am able to, I've tested it out now, like I've refined a creative brief, and it works so well. And I'm going to get a ton of use out of it. So these are all the attachments that I'm able to pull in, pull out. I'm going to add more. I already have about 10 ideas for things I can additionally add. But depending on the nature of the project, I can add in more editorial. I can add in more brand. I can add in more graphics. I can add in, if it's event, I can layer in that type of information. So I feel like it's got a lot of flexibility. It's not going to be like an old style, just one style fits all creative brief. And the test I did was some very generic, because if someone just in the elevator, they just spew on you, this is what I need, put that in, and I got out a very organized creative brief. And I thought, no, you know what? I haven't added in the institutional objectives for both B2B and B2C. So I added those in again. Boom, got that out again. And then I was having so much fun with Skirk, my creative director, that I added in Macy, and she's the senior communications writing for university marketing. So I've created her in with the same format. So she also has her editorial style guides, her writing guides, all of those guidelines. So I'm really happy to do that. And next time I do it, which I haven't tried yet, but I will try to, what was talked about, I think, in class number 2, layering in the requests out of the prompt. And I think that will be very valuable. So if this is a response to a winter storm, but there's other elements that are required too. So I will go back in and begin to automate that aspect. Um, I thought I wanted to do kind of a SWOT analysis. I'm also bothered by ethics and how it affects the um, industry in general. So I think I could have 6 pages like this. If I know I could have 6 pages like this if I kept going, but this was, the result of a quick thought. And I expressed in the first class how I was like worried for OCAD University and what this learning means. So that's a huge threat. What is going to happen to the educational sector? But there is time to take action for sure. Two opportunities is a bit high-minded. I don't think the president will think about me coming up with this idea, but position OCAD as a knowledge base for AI ethics, legality, and IP education. And also create a governing body comprised of various Canadian art and design institutions to cover this problem. It'd be a great fit for OCAD. And finally, thank you for turning me into an AI leader.
You truly are. I said here in the chat, those of you who have know OCAD, I mean, it's the best art and design school in Canada and, arguably in North America. And so for me, this was a bit of a litmus test if someone inside, the highest ivory tower, so to speak, of art and design and who really defines and knows what processes are, what outputs are. I'm so happy you found this useful and valuable. I really think you're onto something. And I you speak to the same opportunity that Alyssa speaks to when she was talking about how to there being an opportunity for brands to define themselves in their relationship to AI. And I think maybe she was saying like maybe we err on the more human side of things as part of our brand. And then, I love that you kind of maybe have gone a different direction, talking about ethics inside OCAD and that being a defining part of what your future messages are and stuff. So I'm really impressed.